Do they always have to go bigger?
Jurassic World Dominion is the finale to the Jurassic Park franchise that began back in the 90s with Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park, and it has been more or less torn apart by critics over the last couple of days. I believe on Rotten Tomatoes it currently holds a 33%, making it the lowest of any of the movies from the franchise. So is it really all that bad? Personally, I don't think so. I definitely don't think that this is a great movie, and I think that a lot of people won't even consider this a good movie. But despite that, I do think there are some things to really enjoy about this film. For one thing, it's always super interesting just to see dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are mesmerizing, and this one gives you plenty of dinosaurs to look at. There are a lot of them that are returning. They're the ones that we've seen in the previous films, and there are a lot of new dinosaurs as well. And all of them were really good. I enjoyed seeing the dinosaurs. I liked to see the way that they were designed them and the way that they looked, and it was really fun. Other things that I really enjoyed about this one is that you have the old characters from the Jurassic Park franchise coming in contact with the new Jurassic World characters, and they had some fun moments between each other. In fact, some of the best moments of the film, I think, are between these characters interacting. Unfortunately, you just don't get as much of that as you maybe would have liked. I think that the end of this film is, for the most part, pretty well done. I think it has some nice dinosaur moments that are decently intense. Nothing in comparison to what you get in something like Jurassic Park or The Lost World. But overall, I think they're nice, and that they were a nice little ending for this side of the franchise. So those are kind of the big things that kind of stand out to me. Some decent scenes, fun characters, and stuff like that. My biggest complaint with this movie, however, is that the dinosaurs really aren't the main issue of the film. And with the film being called Jurassic World and the way they set it up in the last movie of dinosaurs being in the real world,
We've entered a new era. Welcome to Jurassic World.
I thought that this was going to be some huge climactic movie. You're going to see dinosaurs affecting the world and busting in and eating people and causing all of these major problems. And you just really don't get that. In fact, I think there's less people that die in this movie than any other film from the franchise, which is kind of crazy considering this is the finale and the dinosaurs are literally out where they could eat anybody they want. So that was surprisingly disappointing. I won't go into spoilers as to what the actual main issue of the film is, but it just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really like it to be for the finale of this film. I wish they had focused more on the dinosaurs, on this idea of Jurassic World and the problems that dinosaurs could have had with this movie. Now, this film is also pretty much two different stories going on at once. You have the story happening with the Jurassic World characters, and you have the story happening with the Jurassic Park characters. And they're kind of separate for a while, and when they're separate, they're both pretty mediocre. Like, neither of the stories really caught my attention. Neither of their stories were really that interesting. Neither of them had super great moments. I would say the Jurassic World side had a few moments that were okay, but it just takes a while for things to really get going. It's quite a ways in before you actually have your first, like, dinosaur action sequence. And even when it gets there, it's decent, but it's not that fantastic. So it was really just kind of disappointing overall. I didn't care for the story. I felt like it just took a while to get going, and it just didn't feel like a dinosaur movie, especially in the first half of this movie. It feels like other genres of kidnapping and things like that, with dinosaurs occasionally popping up, but not like a dinosaur movie like the other ones do. Once you get towards the end of the film, it kind of corrects that a little bit. You get a little bit more of a focus on the dinosaurs and the humans interacting with them. So I enjoyed the ending of this more, but overall I thought that the film was rather disappointing with some good moments. It's not my least favorite in the franchise, but it's definitely super far away from the top being Jurassic Park. Now, on a cleanliness level, the film's actually not that bad, especially in comparison to some of the other movies. You do have some swearing in it throughout. Nothing that super stood out to me, but, you know, there are the occasional swear words. There are some moments that can be, I guess, a little bit frightening, but it's not anything really all that bad. If you've seen the other movies, particularly the first Jurassic Park, which I think has some of the most intense and suspenseful scenes of the franchise, then you're going to be completely fine with this one. And the other thing is, there are some people who get chomped in this movie. they get munched on, some people get eaten. Like I mentioned, it's actually not that many, and when it does happen, it's really not gory at all. They just kind of get picked up and eaten. So, really, as a cleanliness side, that's not all too bad. But anyways, those are kind of my overall thoughts of this film. Let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts and my rating. So as I mentioned, overall this movie is really a very mixed bag for me. There are some great moments. It's fun to see the old and new characters interact. It's fun to see some of these returning dinosaurs, some of the new dinosaurs, and they have some decent moments with them on occasion that can be a bit intense, if just not anything quite like what they've done in the franchise before. There are some nice callbacks to the original movies that I didn't mention in the previous section, and those were fun when you catch them. It's kind of a little ha-ha and bring us back to the nostalgia of that. But overall, the biggest disappointment for me in this one has to just be the fact that I didn't feel like the story was all that interesting. It didn't really deliver on the idea that was set up in the last film of dinosaurs in the real world and what their effect was going to be. I didn't like the main problem of the film. I didn't care that the stories took a while to get going and that they were pretty boring and slow and just not very intense until the end. And the end somewhat redeemed it. The end has some of the better moments. But overall, it's just kind of disappointing. It's not a fantastic movie, but it's not one that I would recommend that you skip, especially if you are a fan of this franchise like I am. Because even if you don't love the movie, even my least favorite films in this franchise, I still find some enjoyment in them. I still like seeing the dinosaurs. I like seeing the interaction with them and the humans. And so there is some good things to be had within this movie. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a B-. Now, when it comes to the cleanliness, as I mentioned, it's really not any different from the other movies. In fact, it's probably a little bit cleaner than a lot of the other films. There is some swearing, but not very much. It's not something that you don't get in other movies. It wasn't extreme. You have a little bit of intense moments with the dinosaurs that can be a little bit scary maybe for some younger viewers. But if they've seen the older films, they're going to be fine with this one. The older films have some much freakier moments with the dinosaurs. And then there's the fact that people do get eaten by them with the fact that they're being dinosaurs. But it's not gory. It's not bloody. It's not anything like that. They just kind of get picked up and eaten, and that's kind of the end of it. So overall, I didn't think it was actually all that bad, and for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and give it a cleanliness rating of a B. So those are my thoughts, guys, on the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. Have you had the opportunity to see it? Did you think it was a worthy conclusion to this franchise started by Steven Spielberg? Let us know down in the comments. Also, let me know of any movies coming out in the future or TV shows that you would like to see me review. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.